If you're concerned about company culture or working environment and how it feels to work for an organization, one of the things that you need to be able to do is ask probing questions in the interview process. After all, reading reviews on Glassdoor is only going to give you so much information. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 powerful questions you can ask in your interview, specifically to the hiring manager, to help you understand what working for that company and what their company culture is like. Let's go. Now, the first question I want you to ask is, can you give me an example of a time where you coached someone up after a period of lower performance? Now, this is a great question for a few reasons, but what I love about it is a behavioral interview question, the type of question that hiring managers, recruiters, and HR people ask you all the time. But you can also flip that around and ask the hiring manager a behavioral interview question. And what you're basically asking here is, can you give me an example of a time where previously you had someone on your team who was not performing? And how did you react? Did you coach them up? If they don't have an example to give you, well, I would consider that slightly problematic. At the end of the day, you're probably going to want to work with a hiring manager who understands that there are ebbs and flows, valleys and peaks in performance. And when you do run into a rough patch, they're not just going to fire you or let you go, but instead they're going to work with you. And they're a hands-on coaching leader who is willing to invest time to level up your performance. That's why I like asking this question. One of two things will happen. One, they're going to have a great answer for this question that'll inspire you and motivate you to want to work for them. Or two, they're going to struggle to give you an example because it's not something they typically do. If that's the case, I would have concern. The next question is, what have you learned over the past few years of remote and hybrid work? And during that time, has your approach to leadership changed at all? Now, this is a powerful and dynamic interview question. All of us who are people managers, and I manage a team, who experienced the last 3 years certainly walked away with some learning moments. It was a turbulent time. It was up and down. There were things that none of us have experienced before. And there should definitely be some learning moments. And when you're asking the hiring manager, the person who might be your leader, this type of question, they should have a compelling story for you. They should be able to give you their approach. They should be able to tell you how it felt to lead and what they did to safeguard their team. And if they can't, well, that's probably a bit problematic. I think this is an interesting question to ask because it's basically a question that's only been around for a few years. This isn't a question that's been asked a hiring manager for decades. It is relatively new. So they won't have a rehearsed response. Rather, they're going to have to share their real experience. And in that, you're probably going to learn a lot about what type of leader they are, which is really important when you're considering company culture, then the type of culture this leader is going to create within their team. By the way, if you are finding some value in this video, do me a favor and hit that like button. It is free to you and it helps me a ton. It tells YouTube that I don't suck and it motivates me to make more videos like this. And by the way, if you are here and you are liking it, hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss one of my 3 free weekly videos, all designed to help you land your next job and maximize your career. Next question is a great one. And it's, what are you most proud of your team over the past year? And you're basically asking them, okay, you're a leader. What has occurred in this past year that makes you proud of the people you lead? Now, as a leader, I can tell you it would be easy for me to think of 3, 4, 5 examples, right? Because I value my team and I'm really proud of the way they've responded to different things. But if a hiring manager has trouble giving you an answer here, I would consider that like a massive red flag. Imagine a red flag and I'm waving it aggressively because that's a problem. It should be really easy for them to draw on things. We all work together every day. We face a ton of different experiences. And the past couple of years have surely been rich in terms of obstacles we've had to overcome. So it should be really simple for them to have something to share here. And if they don't, well, that's probably an issue. Now, the next question is, beyond the necessary skills, what would make someone a great fit for this job and for your team? And this one's really good because this is an opportunity for them to touch on culture and values or not. Like, they don't have to mention, we want someone who is a hard worker. We want someone who's a good teammate. We want someone who operates with integrity. They don't have to say that, but they can. And if they make their values part of their answer, well, you can probably rest assured that it's important to them. But if they skim over that and they talk about some other things and they don't mention it, well, then maybe you know that it's not as ingrained in their culture or in their day-to-day as you might have hoped. So it's a great question to ask because it is so open-ended. They can say virtually anything. And if they go back to things that would make you a great teammate, things that are value-oriented, I would consider that to be a pretty good sign. Also, the passion in their voice and the emphasis they put into this answer would also tell you a lot about how strongly they feel about it and how interested they are in you as a candidate. Now, the next question is, who inspires you in your company and why? I love this question because it gives the leader an opportunity to call out another leader or someone on their team. And in a good company where people are doing great work and they're leading in a way that they can be proud of, they're gonna have examples. And if they don't have examples, again, this is one of those things where I would consider it a bit problematic. There's no one who inspires you in your entire company. You can't think of like a single person, but if they talk about, let's just say their CEO, their president, maybe one of their VPs, maybe one of the C-suite people, and when they talk about that person, you can hear passion in their voice, I would consider that to be an incredibly powerful sign and a good sign that you're interviewing with a place where, yeah, you probably want to end up getting that offer and working there. Have you ever interviewed for a role and then like the recruiter will not tell you who the company is, or they've messaged you and they refuse to tell you? Well, I made this video about that. There's actually two really interesting reasons. I'm a recruiter, I've been there, I've reached out to people, and I've not told them what the company is, and here is why. I'm sure you're wondering why, so go watch the video. I'm done here, I'll see you over there.